Dylan Bell is a dog. That is what four-star wide receiver Javin Bogs had to say during his visit to Athens this past weekend. He got to watch Georgia scrimmage on Saturday, and that's what I asked him. During his visit, got to catch up with him. You can read more about his visit over on Dawg Post. If you don't know who that is, I'm going to talk about Dylan Bell in a second. But Javin Bogs is a four-star wide receiver from Cocoa, Florida. Don't know if it's Cocoa Beach or Cocoa the town, but he's one of the best pass catchers, wide receivers in the 2025 class, not only in Florida, but across the South. He's a former Ohio State commitment who was in Athens this past weekend. He had a lot to say, and of course you can read that over on Dawg Post. In fact, I'll give you some quotes about it. He said, my favorite part of the visit was the scrimmage, and we got to see the receivers work live. So I said, okay, which wide receivers impressed you the most? And then he said Dylan Bell, and that's not a surprise to anyone who's been watching this channel or who watched Georgia closely last season, because he is a big-time playmaker. I think he could be one of the breakout wide receivers across college football for the 24 season. 6'1", 210. We saw him run the ball. We saw him catch the ball plenty. Played in every game last year, started in 8 games, caught 29 passes, 355 yards, 2 touchdowns, carried the ball 25 times, definitely when they needed him to, for 157 yards, 2 touchdowns on the ground. I think I had a big one against South Carolina, but from that Tennessee game on, he was a different guy, and he really came out and said, you know what, I'm one of the best players on one of the best teams in the country. And he made some NFL type of catches, especially against Florida State, against Georgia Tech. He was phenomenal against Tennessee. This kid can play, and he is really tough to stop. He's going to be a major target for Carson Beck and the offense. But going back to Javin Bogs, this guy is electric. I've got a story on Dawg Post about him. Little recruiting, little team news, little combination of both in this video. But this guy has a nice combination of size and speed. He's not the biggest guy, but he's definitely big enough. I think he's 6'1", 200 pounds. I think that's what it's supposed to be right here in the story. 6 foot. Yeah, 6 foot, 6'1", 200 pounds. So he's a physical, compact guy with, some size. He breaks tackles. But he had a monster season last year as a junior. He caught 93 passes. I don't care where you play, what classification, what state, you catch 93 passes. That's a big season. That's incredibly productive. That's reliable. 93 passes for over 1,500 yards, 1,504 yards, 24 touchdowns, helped lead his team to a state championship as well in Florida. So the kid's the real deal. He's a strong route runner. I took a look at some of his highlights earlier or before I jumped on this, and he can run. He kind of glides. He doesn't have true breakaway speed, but you wouldn't really expect that from a kid who's 200 pounds already. But he's physical, and he does run hard. But again, he looks like he glides. He picks up yards in a hurry, if that makes sense. But he shows good footwork. He can, he's mastered the slants. A lot of his catches came on, an inside slant or a deep post. But there was one play where it was like a 15-yard comeback route, and he made one guy miss as he turned, changed directions, came back to the football, caught it, turned around and made the other guy miss, took off for a touchdown. So, he's a good player, really good player, and again, a former Ohio State commitment. He's ranked, though, as the number 26 wide receiver in the country and the number 32 overall prospect in Florida. So, again, if you're a top 50 player in the state of Florida, you're really good, and you should make an impact at the next level, and it looks like this young man is going to. So, from what I've gathered, hardworking kid, loves to compete. Georgia's got a lot of new wide receiver targets out there. They've offered a lot of guys, several in-state guys, a few out-of-state guys like Mr. Javin Bogs here. So it'll be interesting to see how they put their class together at wide receiver, how often that recruiting board goes up and down. They'll see a lot of these guys in person during spring practice. At their high school, they'll have them on campus in the summer, working out at different camps, private workouts. So their recruiting board is going to go up and down a little bit, but this was a big weekend for Kirby and his staff to see these guys on campus face-to-face. That's how you build relationships, and they do it as well as anyone. It's the face-to-face interaction with the prospect, with the family, with the coach, the trainer, all in town on campus at the same time, and they're all bonding and getting that feel for Athens. And the Georgia program and what they're all about. And again, that's when they win over these players, when the players get to see how intense and fast practice is, how much these players care, what it takes to win a championship. When they walk through the halls and see the trophies, that means something. That stands out. And they see all the guys who have been first round picks over the years. That sticks with them. And they meet this staff who does such a great job of bonding and building those relationships. And those are just a few reasons why they do such a good job. But this young man watched the receivers and he said, Dillon Bell is my guy. So again, that's not a surprise at all. I would like to see him run the ball a little bit more, just because he's a little different from a healthy Branson Robinson, Roderick Robinson, Andrew Paul, right? He's more of the, I guess the Trevor Etienne type, but he's thicker and he's another, well, Etienne is about the 200-pound level too. They are kind of similar in a way as runners. Not completely, but compared to the other backs that Georgia has on the roster, those two are probably more similar than the rest. But you do want him catching the football because he is a threat down the field. The way he tracks the ball, he can catch it over the shoulder. He can make a big catch in traffic, down the field, in the screen game, the short passing game. He's tough, and Tennessee had some guys bouncing off of his thighs. He's a good receiver overall, but then he runs like a running back after the catch. So he's a weapon. There are not a ton of guys across college football like him. And with Colby Young a little banged up right now, London Humphreys coming along, Michael Jackson, impressing from time to time from what I've gathered. Those are some incoming transfers at wide receiver who are gonna, push for playing time, and they're going to make guys like Dom Lovett, Ra Thomas better. And Dillon Bell, who I think he might be wide receiver number one right now. It's either him or Dom Lovett, in my opinion, from what I've gathered. But Colby Young is going to have something to say about that too. There's a lot of guys. Anthony Evans has track speed that they want to get the ball to. We saw that they wanted Arian Smith to touch the ball a lot towards the end of last year. I think he caught a pass against Alabama, touchdown against Florida State. I think he played some against Georgia Tech. So Arian Smith is an experienced veteran with elite speed that the staff is not giving up on. That guy is going to catch the ball. So again, there's only one football, but Dillon Bell needs to touch it. Whether you hand it to him, throw it to him, he's been very, very impressive. This could be his last year. I did not think he would be a 3-and-out type of guy covering him in high school. But that's what he's turned out to be because he is versatile and he does have a different type of skill set. And I think he's going to find the end zone a little bit more this next year. But he's going to get a lot of opportunities to make some plays and maybe throw the football. But he is a big deal. And if you've been watching, this channel, reading our stories over on Dawg Post, that's not surprising at all. He was a big get for them. Even though he was just a 3-star out of Houston, the Georgia staff said, hey, this guy can play a little running back for us, special teams, wide receiver. He's tough. He's physical. He works hard. He gets it. He understands how good he can be. So that was probably one of the better guys that they've signed in that 3-star category, right? Everyone remembers Jordan Davis, who was the 3-star, turned one of the best players in college football, first-round pick. Stetson Bennett was a walk-on, not even really a 3-star. Maybe one outlet maybe had him as a 3-star. Ladd McConkey was a 3-star all day long. Christopher Smith was a low 4-star that was a big-time player for this program and one of the more underrated players easily in the Kirby Smart era. And Dillon Bell was a 3-star, maybe he was a 4-star in one outlet or two, but he certainly outplayed his ranking, and I think he's going to be one of the best, most productive players on Georgia's offense this year. Javin Bogs saw it firsthand. He thinks Dillon Bell is going to have a monster year, and he was impressed for sure. When you get to watch these receivers go at it, it's a very good group, and a lot of them are going to impress a lot of people. Dillon Bell impressed a lot of people towards the end of last year for sure, and some in the middle when he was helping out running back. It was the middle of the season. I think we saw him score a late touchdown against the Gators, I believe, but there were some games where we didn't see much of him at all. Georgia still wins by 20, 30 points, but he is a weapon and who could turn into maybe an alpha go-to, have to have it type of receiver who, everyone knows he's going to get the ball or it's coming his way and he can still be able to make a play. That guy that might be the type of guy they're missing. Maybe Dillon Bell turns into that guy. Maybe that's Tom Lovett. Maybe that's Colby Young. I think we'll see. But right now, Dillon Bell is impressing a lot of people, including a big-time 4-star wide receiver, former Ohio State commitment, now looking hard at the Dogs. Thanks for watching this video. You can sign up to our free newsletter clicking on that link that's right down below. Thanks for watching this video. Hope to see you on the website.